This video will show you how to use the online Sendai Framework Monitor to report on Target D. This target is to reduce disaster damage to critical infrastructure and disruption of basic services, among them health and educational facilities, including through developing their resilience by 2030. Target D refers to two separate but interconnected situations. The first is the situation in which critical infrastructure is damaged or destroyed, and the second in which basic services are disrupted. To begin reporting, make sure you have selected the correct reporting year. The year should reflect the year of the data and not the year that you are inputting data. It is important to make sure that the reporting year is correct every time you log into the system, as the selected year may not reset. Most of the data required for indicators of Target D is collected under Targets B and C, thereby avoiding additional reporting burden. By completing Targets B and C, the system will automatically fill in data for relevant indicators of Target D. Indicator D1 is a compound of indicators D2 to D4, which means that data does not need to be entered for D1. If you have entered data for indicators D2, D3, and D4, the system will calculate the value for indicator D1. Indicators D2, D3, and D4 directly monitor damage to critical infrastructure by measuring the number of facilities and infrastructure units which are damaged or destroyed. Similarly, indicator D5 is a compound of indicators D6 to D8 and will be calculated once data for D6 to D8 are inputted. Indicators D6, D7, and D8 directly monitor disruption to basic services of Target D by counting the number of facilities or types of basic services disrupted as a consequence of a disaster. The values calculated for indicators D1 and D5 will be reported for related indicators of the Sustainable Development Goals, as noted by the SDG icon here. If you would like to see how the system calculates these figures, you can find the formula in the technical guidance note for Target D. Indicators D2, D3, and D4 collect data on destroyed or damaged health and educational facilities and other critical infrastructure units and facilities. This data is reported as part of indicator C5. So before entering data for Target D, make sure you have completed data entry for C5 to see values reported for D2, D3, and D4. As always, you are encouraged to disaggregate data, where for these indicators you can disaggregate by hazard, geography, level of affectation of either damaged or destroyed, and size of facility. If you decide to disaggregate by size of facility, the definition is up to your country. For example, a large hospital in a small island developing state would be small in a populous South Asian country. Disaggregation on the monitor is set up by the country coordinator under Global Targets and Setup. Indicator D6 monitors the number of disruptions to educational services. This includes interruptions of services that are either single or multiple, short or long, damage to the facilities or networks that provide the service, measurable or noticeable reduction in the quality of the service, reduction in the population covered by the service, or a combination of the above. If during a disaster, or as a consequence of a disaster, any of these situations occur to an educational service, this is counted as one disruption of service. For example, if 3 universities were closed for 1 week as a consequence of an earthquake, enter 3 in this box. Follow this same manner of reporting for indicator D7 on the number of disruptions to health services. Reporting for indicator D8, the number of disruptions to basic services, is similar to D6 and D7, with the exception of requiring the number of types of basic services interrupted. Basic services can include water, sewerage, transport, government, communication services, among others. If during a disaster, or as a consequence of a disaster, the provision of the services was partially or totally interrupted 1 or more times, level of quality of the services was degraded, or coverage of the service was reduced, then this would count as one disruption of service. For example, if a windstorm caused electricity to be interrupted several times and left several neighborhoods without power, this means electricity was disrupted for this one disaster. If water supply and communications were also disrupted because of the electricity disruptions in several neighborhoods, this means for this disaster, 3 services were disrupted. In the monitor system, you would input 1 for each of the disrupted services for a total of 3 disruptions. Refer to the technical guidance notes for a list of proposed classifications of the infrastructure sector. Once you are happy with the inputted figures, click on Submit Indicators, which will then progress the data to validation. If you have made a mistake, you can click Reopen Indicator to make any changes at any time, and then click Resubmit.